Hi guys, welcome to the part 2 of roadmap to prelims exam. So there are 100 days left and I hope that you people are now very serious about your prelims preparation. If you're not, you have to be. Please, under any circumstances, stop thinking about your optionals, stop thinking about your mains exam and solely focus on prelims. The next 100 days will decide your fate. So please make sure that you give it all the energy you have and focus and remain in that prelims universe. Today, let us discuss the roadmap to prelims for the next 100 days. In the roadmap to prelims part 1, we had actually discussed about how to prepare for prelims in the month of December up to February. So that was the part 1. So now coming to part 2 of this video. Now, irrespective of those students who have listened to the part 1 or not, who have followed part 1 or not, we will give a strategy in such a way that it will help different scenarios of different groups of students. Okay, so this is what I am going to do. I am going to give you 3 scenarios. The first scenario is a 5-cycle revision. The second scenario is a 4-cycle revision. And the third scenario is a 3-cycle revision. Okay, so I will explain you this cycles, how to do these cycles of revision. It is up to you to take up whichever suits you, whichever level of preparation you are in, and whichever is more confident building in your perspective, you can adopt that approach. Okay, so now let us discuss what is this 3 scenarios clearly. So listen to these 3 scenarios, then you take some time and think about it and then take a call. Okay, one more surprising element in this particular video is I am going to, for every scenario, release a timetable. It is a generic timetable for all the 3 scenarios that you can download and you can use it in order to always keep it as a target that you have to reach every day. So this timetable will be broken up in a way that I'm going to explain you the scenario. Okay, so you can definitely download that particular PDFs of the timetable of the 3 scenarios that I have given in the comment section. Okay, so I have worked really hard to create this timetable and the strategy. So I hope you will reciprocate by giving it all. And I hope you will reciprocate by clearing prelims. That is all I ask from you. So let us first discuss these 3 scenarios and then you can sit and decide which scenario suits you and then download the timetable and use the timetable to achieve your targets on a daily basis for the next 100 days. So the moment you take a call to download that PDF that I have given, the moment you take up the call that this is the scenario that will suit me, that is the day you have accepted the 100 days challenge of Sudeep was. So I hope you are ready for accepting this challenge. The next 100 days are very crucial. Every day, you don't have to do too much. Every day, just achieve the targets that you have kept. If you achieve the targets that you have kept for the next 100 days that we are going to discuss in this particular scenarios as well as the PDF, you are going to ace it. This is something that I can assure you. All I want you to do is be consistent for the next 100 days and keep achieving the target on daily basis. That is the reason I am releasing the timetable that I have worked hard to make it. And you will use the timetable. The third I want you to do is, I want you to consistently, every day, I will release a poster in the community channel. In this community channel, when I release the poster, I want you at the end of the day to update in the comment section what was your targets, how was your studies, what was your marks, how many questions went wrong, and what was your take on your entire day progress. So this is something that you have to journal every day for the next 100 days in the community section of Sudeep was. That is why for the next 100 days, I will consistently upload one poster every day for the next 100 days until your prelims comes. But it is up to you to come to the comment section and update and journal your journey for the next 100 days, not to help me, but to help yourself. By journaling every day, what is the progress, 2 things is going to happen. One, on a daily basis when you do it, you are accountable to yourself. The second is, if you do it for 10 days, your confidence automatically will make you do for the 20 days. If you do for 20 days, automatically you will be enthusiastic to do it for 30 days. So this is a kind of autonomous system that will help you to motivate yourself. So every day for the next 100 days, every community poster, I expect you students to keep updating at the end of the day, what is the targets that you have achieved. Okay, so this is something that I'm doing for my students community because prelims is something that everyone is afraid of. You don't have to be. Just be consistent. do the basics right, and make sure that you read one source of current affairs many number of times, you will clear this exam. But what is important is solving a lot of tests. This is something that a lot of people will neglect, thinking that studying will help them garner more and more content. This exam is not about content. This exam is all about execution. So the way you are going to write the test series after reading the basic book matters. Only reading the basic book does not matter. Okay, so please study but solve more tests. So to balance both of this, to make sure that the students will not neglect one and overemphasize on the other, I am giving you the three scenarios. The first scenario is a 5-cycle revision, the second scenario is a 4-cycle revision, and the third scenario is a 3-cycle revision. Okay, now one thing that I want you to tell is, just because there is 5-cycle revision, there is more number of revision, don't adopt it. Adopt it only if you have the competency to finish the subject very quickly. Just because there is 5 cycles doesn't mean that it will suit every student watching this video. Alright, so you listen to this particular scenarios properly, adopt this scenario if it suits your style and competency. That is something that I am again warning you. So just because some students will choose a 3-cycle revision doesn't mean that they are weak, or doesn't mean that they will not clear. Let me make it very clear. 3-cycle revision is for those people who have a different level of competency right now. 5-cycle revision is for those students who have different level of competency right now. Okay, so whichever level of competency you are in, be true to yourself, tell it to yourself, and then choose that scenario. Again, I'm going to release the PDF of all the 3 scenarios timetable, which you can download. And it does not mean that just because a person is choosing a 3-cycle revision scenario, that person will not clear. No. Okay, that person is going to choose that particular scenario because his or her strengths and weaknesses match with that scenario, and that person will going to ace it in the prelims, because at the end of 100 days challenge, irrespective of what scenarios you take, at the end of 100 days challenge, each and every student who has chosen either of the scenarios will come to the same level of competency that they are going to clear prelims. This is what I can assure you. But what is very important is, one, choose the scenarios carefully depending upon your reality of your competency. The second is, achieve the targets on a daily basis. Keep posting in the comment section what your targets are, what is achieved, what is your marks. Don't worry about what others think, just keep doing it. If you do it on a daily basis, it motivates you automatically to do it for the 100 days in a straight line. Before we start off with the 5-cycle revision, I just want to remind you people that there are 8 core pillars, and our entire revision timetable is going to revolve around these 8 core pillars. Okay, so what are the 8 core subjects? The first subject is polity, the second is economy, the third is geography, the fourth is environment, the fifth is modern India, the sixth is ancient, medieval and art and culture, the seventh is international relations and world mapping, and the eighth is science and technology. Okay, now no one subject is very important, no one subject is very unnecessary. All the 8 subjects are important, so make sure that you revise all the 8 subjects thoroughly, and our revision strategy will revolve around all the 8 subjects, giving equal emphasis on everything. Okay, with that, let us start off with the 5-cycle revision. The 5-cycle revision is nothing but, you have 100 days, divide the 100 days into 5 cycle of revision, that gives you 20 days to complete one cycle. Okay, so 100 days, you divide 20 days for one cycle, that gives you 5 cycle of revision. So in every 20 days, you have to complete all the 8 core subjects, and you also have to write the tests. So remember, okay, in the 20 days, if you have to complete one cycle, you have to revise all the 8 core subjects, and also you have to write the tests. So this is how the timetable for the first scenario stands. Okay, now if I take the first cycle of 20 days, this is how you have to do. Now the next 20 days, you can reiterate the same thing whatever I am telling. Okay, so this is how it is. So look at this. In the first 20 days, okay, let us say day 1, you're starting with subject 1. Now let us assume that the subject 1 is polity. Okay, so you will study polity, both static and current affairs. Now here, current affairs, you can choose any one magazine and read the current affairs for that particular subject. So what you have to do now is, you have to read the basics as well as current affairs. So you dedicate the time in such a way that 70% of your time is studied on static and 30% on current affairs. So in that way, try to cover the current affairs. Okay, and the current affairs should be studied in commensurate with the subject. Don't try to put current affairs as a separate entity. Use current affairs as a commensurate entity that will add value to your basic subject. Okay, so now this is how we go. In the 5 cycle revisions, if we take the 100 days, the first cycle is the first 20 days. In the first 20 days, take the first day. So you will study polity and you will study polity current affairs. The second day, you will study polity and polity current affairs. The third day, you will study economy and economy current affairs. The fourth day, you will study economy and economy current affairs. Okay, so 4 days, you have studied 2 subjects with their current affairs. On the 5th day, you are going to take the polity full length test, economy full length test, and 1 full length CSAT test. So in 5 days, you are going to finish 2 subjects. You are going to write 2 tests of GS, that is one is polity and one is economy, and then you are also going to take 1 CSAT test. Okay, so I hope you got this. Now let me generalize it. On the first 5 days of that 20-day cycle, you are going to take subject 1 plus current affairs, subject 1 plus current affairs, subject 2 plus current affairs, subject 2 plus current affairs. On the 5th day, you are going to write a full length test on subject 1, full length test on subject 2, as well as 1 full length test on CSAT. Okay, so in 5 days, you are going to complete 2 subjects as well as 1 full length CSAT test and 2 full length GS tests. So like that, go to the second 5 days. There, you are going to complete subject 3 current affairs, subject 3 plus current affairs, subject 4 plus current affairs, subject 4 plus current affairs. On the 5th day, that is on the 10th day, you are going to write subject 3 full length test, subject 4 full length test, and you are going to write a full length CSAT paper. Like this, if you take 20 days, every 2 days, you will be completing 1 subject plus current affairs, and on the 5th day, you will be writing 2 full length tests of GS, that subject paper, 2 subject papers, and 1 full length CSAT test. Okay, now this is going to be intense. So like this, in a 20-day cycle, you are going to finish reading all the subjects once. You are going to also write 1 full length test on all the subjects, and you will be writing 5 CSAT tests every 5th day. So I hope you got this 20-day what you need to do. And like this, in 20 days, if you can finish the entire 8 subjects with their current affairs along with CSAT, go to the next 20 days and do the same thing again. So this is how every 20 days you are going to finish each subject in 2 days. Plus you are going to write on 1 day, dedicated day, you are going to write 2 tests on 2 subjects plus a CSAT test. So it is going to be very simple. See, there is 8 core subjects. So you're going to spend 2 days on every subject, that is 8 2s are 16 days, and for the 4 days, you are going to write tests on 2 subjects every day along with the full length CSAT test. So I hope I've made it very clear what is this 5 cycle revision. So those people who feel that they can finish an entire subject in a matter of just 2 days, take up this, because don't forget you have to integrate and read current affairs as well. Okay, so please adopt this strategy if you feel you have the competency and you have been reading from a very long time and you can finish the entire subject in a matter of just a couple of days. By doing this, you will have 5 different revisions that itself will act as a confidence booster by the time you finish the 100th day. Okay, so this is the first scenario. So I hope you understood this. The second scenario is a 4 cycle revision. 4 cycle revision means you take 100 days and you divide it into 4 groups of 25 days each. So you have 8 subjects and you have 25 days, that will give you approximately 3 days per subject. Okay, so this is how you have to divide. It is very simple. The strategy is very simple. If you have 3 days per subject, I want you to read for 2.5 days one particular subject, and in half of a day take 1 full length test. Okay, then go to the next 3 days. In the next 3 days, read subject 2 for 2.5 days, and at the end take 1 full length test of that particular subject. So to give you an example, let us say for the first 3 days you are going to read polity. So for 2.5 days you read polity, and in the half of the day you take a full length polity test. Okay, but what is very, very important is in the 3 days when you are reading polity, another 2 things that you have to do is every day make sure that 1 hour you dedicate for CSAT and you solve 40 questions of CSAT in 1 hour. And also make sure that you're integrating current affairs within that polity as well. Okay, so like this, for one subject, if you give 3 days, you have 8 subjects, approximately it will take 24 days. So 24 days, let us say 1 day you have a buffer. So you have 25 days to complete all the 8 subjects. So again, I'll reiterate the 4 cycle revision. 100 days divided into 4 groups, that is 25 days each. 8 subjects, you're getting 25 days, that is 3 days per subject. When you are reading one subject for the 3 days, 2.5 days you are going to read that subject along with the current affairs, and in the half of the day, at the 3rd day, the later half, take a full length test of that subject. Okay, however, make sure that every day in this strategy, every day first, second and third day, every day, 1 hour should be dedicated for solving 40 questions of CSAT. Okay, so like this, if you take 3 days to complete one subject with current affairs, by the 25th day you will be completing 8 subjects with current affairs, along with writing one full-length test of all the 8 subjects and solving 40 questions of CSAT per hour all the 25 days. So I hope you got this strategy. Like this, 25 days if you finish one cycle, for the 100 days you are going to finish 4 cycles. So again, think about it. If this suits you, this is for those people who need a little more time to finish one subject. So in the previous strategy, there was only 2 days to finish the subject, and with that you had to do your current affairs. Now you have 2.5 days to finish one full subject as well as your current affairs. Also, you will be writing one full-length test here. There you will be writing 2 full-length tests of 2 different subjects. So that is a little more hectic compared to this intermediate strategy of 25 days for 4 cycle revision. So I hope it helps, and I hope you will choose properly on the basis of the real competency that you have within you and which suits you, and not because which is more attractive. Don't do that. Okay, so this is the second scenario of the 4 cycle revision. Okay, the third scenario is a 3 cycle revision. This is for those students who need little more time to do their rounds. So the 100 days can be divided like this. You divide the 100 days into 48 days is the first cycle, 32 days is the second cycle, and the third cycle is 16 days. So you have 4 reserve days because it comes up to 96 days. That is fine, not an issue. So let me tell you what happens in the first cycle, that you have 48 days. Okay, so you have 48 days and you have 8 subjects. So 8 subjects means you get 6 days per subject in the first cycle. Okay, so in that 6 days that you get in this particular scenario, the 5 days you are going to spend on one subject along with current affairs. But what is important is, when you do this subject along with current affairs, every day you have to solve 40 questions of CSAT per hour, and you also have to solve 50 MCQs per hour every day on GS subject. So this has to happen in all the 5 days. So for the 5 days you have dedicated yourself to study one subject with current affairs, and every day you are going to solve 40 CSAT questions per hour and 50 MCQs per hour of GS. So this is for 5 days. On the 6th day, what you are going to do is, you are going to solve 2 full-length tests of GS and 1 full-length test of CSAT of that subject that you have studied. Okay, so in 6 days you are going to complete 1 full subject and write 2 tests on that subject and 1 full-length CSAT test. Like this, if you take 6 days and attach it to 8 core subjects, you are going to take around 48 days to finish one cycle. Now, the first round is 6 days per cycle. The second round, if you come, I told you the second cycle is 32 days. So 32 days with 8 core subjects will give you 4 days per subject. Here in the 4 days per subject, this is what you have to do. That 4 days, you divide it as 3 plus 1. In these 3 days, again you are going to study one subject fully integrated with current affairs. The next is per hour, you are going to solve CSAT test. Okay, now you don't have to solve the GS test every day. So one, study the subject for 3 days. The second is, make sure you integrate current affairs and study that subject. The third is, you make sure that you study for 1 hour, you dedicate 1 hour for CSAT 40 questions. With that, on the fourth day, you are going to write 2 full-length tests on that particular subject as well as 1 full-length CSAT test. Okay, now this is the second cycle of 32 days. Like this, 4 days per subject. If you take 8 4s are 32. So in 32 days, 3 days you are going to study the subject with current affairs. You are going to solve the CSAT tests every day for 40 questions per hour. And on the 4th day, you are going to take 2 full-length tests of that particular subject, as well as you are going to also write 1 full-length CSAT test. So you finish the first cycle of 6 into 8, that is 48 days. You finish the second cycle of 4 into 8, that is 32 days. The third cycle is going to be a sprint. The third cycle is 16 days. 16 days means 8 subjects. 16 days means you are getting just 2 days per subject. So now you would have got the competency to finish the entire subject in 1 day. So what you have to do is, 1 day you read that particular subject. The second day you take 2 tests. One is full length CSAT test, another is full length test. Don't worry about the subject wise full length, you take the full length test. Okay, the second day you're going to read, the third day you're going to read the subject 2, the fourth day you're going to take full length test of 1, as well as you're going to take 1 full length CSAT test. So like this, the last 16 days you get 1 day per subject integrated with current affairs, as well as the second day you're going to write 1 full length test plus 1 CSAT test. Okay, so like this, the first cycle is 48 days, 6 days per subjects, 5 days you are going to study along with CSAT per hour 40 questions and MCQs per hour 50 questions, and the 6th day you are going to take 2 tests on that particular subject plus full length CSAT test. So this is 6 into 8, 48 days. Then comes the next 8 into 4, that is 8 subject into 4 days. In the 4 days also, 1 day you are going to reserve for tests. So 3 days you are going to read a subject. While reading the subject, integrate with the current affairs. While integrating the current affairs, also dedicate 1 hour for CSAT. With that, come to the 4th day, you are going to write 2 full length tests of that particular subject as well as 1 full length CSAT test. Then comes the next cycle of 16 days, that gives you 2 days per subject. 1 day you are going to study, 1 day you are going to write 2 tests. One is full length test, not subject wise full length test, as well as one CSAT test. So like this, the third cycle, that is the third scenario, is the 3 cycle revision of 48 days plus 32 days plus 16 days. So that will come up to somewhere around 96 days. So you can keep 4 days as a buffer here and there. So I hope you understood the 3 scenarios, and I hope that you are going to think about it and then choose whichever scenario you want carefully. Okay, now one more important attention that I wanted to do is the last cycle should always be full length tests, and the last cycle keep solving a lot of tests. You don't have to stick exactly on that day to solve the test. Whenever you get bored, take a test, sit for 2 hours and solve a full length test. Okay, the last cycle in every scenario should not be subject wise full length. The last cycle of every scenario should always be a full length test, not subject wise. It has to be full length, because you would have studied so many number of times every subject. You don't have to sit and study that subject to write the test. You will be ready to write whatever test you need. Okay, that is regarding the tests. The last cycle of every scenario should be full length test. It should not be subject wise full length. It should be full length test as a whole. Okay, so that is regarding the test series. The next is integrating current affairs. Again, I am telling you, don't overhype current affairs. Second, read 1 magazine, and if it is a yearly compilation, that is good. So take that yearly compilation and segregate it subject wise. Obviously, you will get it already segregated, that is also fine. But if you segregate it subject wise, when you are reading the static subject, read the current affairs. When you are reading the static subject, read the current affairs. So try to integrate the current affairs when you are reading the static, because it makes more sense. Okay, so like this, make sure that you follow whichever scenario suits you. Okay, again I'm telling you, I have worked hard to prepare the timetable which I'll be releasing, which you can download, but please choose carefully. The game has begun, and make sure that the next 100 days is going to decide what is going to be your life. So please make sure that you take it seriously. Don't let anxiety set in. Be very disciplined. You dedicate 8 to 10 hours every day, that is more than sufficient. If you can dedicate 8 to 10 hours every day for the next 100 days, you will be among the top 1% of the candidates who are going to write this exam. That is the simple trick. Be consistent, be disciplined, and make sure that you are following your targets carefully. That will keep your anxiety levels down, that will keep you calm, and when that is the essence that will keep your confidence going when you go and sit in that exam hall for the 2 hours. Okay, if you want to execute for the 2 hours flawlessly, make sure that this strategy is executed flawlessly. Okay, so I hope it has been helpful. Sit and think which scenario suits you, and I hope you will make a right choice. All the best, guys. The 100 days challenge starts, and I hope you will accept this challenge, and I hope in every community post that I post every day for the next 100 days, you will be commenting on your progress. Show me that you are consistent, guys. If you are consistent, automatically no one can stop you. Okay, with that, I'm going to see you again. Thank you so much for all the love and support. I'll see you again, guys. Bye.